Alright guys, this is a video I've been wanting to do for a long time. I've been hinting at different fragrances smelling like this in various videos, and I'm finally doing it. So we have fragrances that smell like shampoo, or fragrances that act or experience like shampoo. For me, it's not necessarily all about the smell, it's about texture, and when you combine the actual fragrance smell that the fragrance is with that texture, it even feels more like shampoo. So I've got 21 fragrances here going into different directions. I know some of you have been asking me to find fragrances that smell like the herbal essences shampoos. I'm not sure if any of these will smell like it, but if you've been looking, then I think these are great ones to check out. And we've got things all over the place here. For me, again, as I said, it's not necessarily just the smell, it's texture. And I'm gonna let you know about texture versus just smell, so you can find out and then check these fragrances out yourself. Because I travel to Europe quite a bit, and what I love to do is when I'm living in an apartment for a while, I have to buy some shampoo products or even body wash products there. And the Monoprix in France has some of the most amazing products like we don't have here in the States. And when you're going through and smelling some of them, they smell really, really awesome, unique smells that we don't get here in the States. So that's what kind of like about some of these fragrances here. They remind me of smells that we don't necessarily get in the products that we actually have that's available at our stores. So really awesome fragrances here that remind me of shampoo. Let's get started. We're doing this in alphabetical order. It's not ranked. So I didn't want to rank this list because it's a matter of texture and smell. So but some of these are awesome. I'll tell you which I really, really enjoy. So we're doing this in alphabetical order, as I said. Before I start the list, let me know if you have any fragrances yourself that remind you of shampoos, you know, mass market shampoos, expensive shampoos, hotel shampoos, even body wash products. If there's anything out there that you might really think that it reminds you of those kind of products, add a comment below so we can find out. So let's go to the house of AFFINESSENCE first. This is SAFRAN-NEROLI. So this to me is a texture and smell thing combined. And for me, since it is super creamy, it's definitely something that gives me that kind of a expensive shampoo or even body wash kind of a product vibe. So as soon as you put your nose to it, there's definitely a creamy texture, but it has that saffron. It's super spicy, and mixed with ylang ylang and neroli together, two floral notes. And the ylang ylang is already kind of a creamy, kind of banana-like texture. And then the neroli comes off super soapy. And then what you have left here is davana and black tea to round things out. And in the end, you have this super creamy, spicy, floral kind of experience that to me reminds me of a very expensive shampoo that is super duper fragrant. Again, this is a texture thing. I mean, I don't know if you guys can smell in texture, if it's just in smell, but for me, there's a creamy texture here, super smooth. And just think of that very creamy shampoo that you're pouring in your hand and you're about to lather your hair with. That's giving me that kind of a vibe here, totally. So this is the first fragrance, AFFINESSENCE SAFRAN-NEROLI. Check it out, experience it, let me know your thoughts on it. It's a great scent. I absolutely love that one. And it reminds me of shampoo or, you know, kind of a creamy body wash product that I would find somewhere that sells things for a little bit expensive. So we're moving on to the house of AMOUAGE next. This is Beach Hut Man. Yeah, this is kind of more in line with something perhaps more like the herbal essences because it's quite herbal and aromatic for me, but there's also a texture here as well. It's a thick texture, dense texture, not as creamy as the previous fragrance or some of the other ones that I'm going to talk to you about. But this gives me that kind of a green, herbal essences, aromatic, bitter, fresh, maybe little tropical kind of an experience. But this features notes of mint, galbanum. There's also orange blossom. There's ivy, vetiver, moss, patchouli, myrrh, and dry woods. Maybe it's the myrrh that's in here that's giving me that kind of a creamy effect. Maybe it's the moss that's doing that. The fact that it also has orange blossom, that's the clean, soapy effect that's coming through. But it's super minty and also very bitter green with the galbanum and the ivy note. So it's a very green take on a shampoo. And again, herbal essences, I can't remember them personally. I know I used them in the early 90s to mid 90s, but I've forgotten about their smells. And this is one that you can check out to see if it reminds you of any of those shampoos. From what I remember, the herbal essences kind of reminded me a little bit of fruits and green notes or herbal notes, maybe some tropical notes as well. Maybe this might do it for you if it was all green and aromatic and herbal, or maybe you'll have to hear about some of these others that might do it for you. But that's Beach Hut Man from AMOUAGE. Totally gives me shampoo vibes. Up next, going to the house of Born to Stand Out. It's Fig Porn. So it's fruity, it's woody, very creamy experience. This isn't green at all. This, to me, is all about texture with a fruity texture. So imagine you're wearing a maybe tropical fruity, because I think it's a little bit coconutty here, creamy, because the fact that they're going off of the fruits of the fig and then also the creamy milk that the fig has. So you're getting these kind of things here with this. So it's figs, pear, there's bergamot, there's floral notes, musks and woods and amber in the base. So this is a very thick texture. It's a bit more simplistic and not so much of a loud smell, unlike the SAFRAN-NEROLI and the Beach Hut Man. This is for the person that wants a shampoo that's not super duper intense with the essence itself, but very creamy, super fruity, woody, ambery, and resinous as well in the dry down. Lots of woods, and along the way there's some floral notes too. But it's a fig and pear kind of a combo here. That's what's running the show because of its fruitiness. But it totally gives me a shampoo vibe. Check it out, Fig Porn from the house of Born to Stand Out. So this I'm going to feature here. For the longest time, this fragrance challenged me. I don't understand why, but I'm a big fan of the style of fragrance it is, but it challenged the heck out of me. I always rank this as my least favorite from this house. This is the MUSC from the house of Essential Parfums. Now I know what it reminds me of. It reminds me of something super creamy and musky, slightly sweet, but velvety, smooth, creamy shampoo. Because I got a kind of a creamy, waxy feel with this, I think that kind of bothered me for a while. But the more I smell it, the more it becomes kind of a slightly sweet, honeyed, musky, kind of creamy shampoo. So it's Essential Parfums, the MUSC. I know they have an extract of this now as well. I think what the brand does is they make extracts of their more popular fragrances. Bois Imperial was the first. They did Nice Bergamot and this at the same time. But yeah, this gives me a very creamy, once again, not super strong in smell, unlike the first two. This one and Born to Stand Out's Fig Porn are a bit more subdued, but very texturally very reminiscent of a shampoo, and also as a smell as well, because it's got that sweet, slightly honeyed, musky, essence with a little bit of a herbal touch with the lavender that's in here and the ginger that's in here. But lots of musks in here. It's a musk bomb. It's very, very musky and super creamy and waxy texture. So that is the MUSC from Essential Parfums and total shampoo vibes. All right, next up, we're going to the house of ETAT Libre d'Oran, just the ghost in the shell. Yeah. I mean, we just spoke about this on the It's Just Perfume podcast that Lucky Scent does. I was a guest. The idea of shampoo came up, the topic of shampoo, fragrances that remind you of shampoo. And this totally does. This is totally a musky and molecular fragrance, but there's a milky texture, and the smell in here really gives you the idea of this really nice, creamy, slightly gelatinous shampoo effect. And even the smell, even though it's like musky notes, I think there's definitely the idea of shampoo that's, kind of a floral, but very musky, because this fragrance features notes of hexyl acetate, yuzu, aqual, skin accord, jasmine absolute, mugain, orchinox, vinyl guaiacol, and moss. So the fact that they have mugain, I believe that's like a lily of the valley type of a note, and the jasmine, so it's super floral. But the fact that it has a lot of musky notes in the base and it's super creamy, very velvety, smooth, creamy. that texture is what reminds me of shampoo, because it's slightly floral, it's slightly spicy, it's slightly citrusy, and all that musky notes in there, and the moss too. Really a shampoo in a bottle pretty much. And when you touch the bottle as well, the texture of the bottle kind of reminds me of it as well, which is maybe intentional, but they didn't set out to make a shampoo smelling fragrance, but it reminds me of a shampoo. All right, up next, going to the house of Frederic Malle. This is Eau de Magnolia. I mean, I'm actually putting this here because I've actually stayed at hotels that have this as hotel products, and they have a shampoo out of it. But in the end, it's Magnolia. Magnolia is super creamy for me anyway. And it does smell like a shampoo. Very fresh shampoo, creamy floral shampoo with light spices. I mean, there's products like this out there for whether it's something like a lotion or a body wash. It's super fresh, and there's also a dewy quality in here. And I think it's coming from the citruses that are in here, because there's notes of bergamot, lemon, grapefruit, lots of magnolia. It's a magnolia balm, vetiver, oak moss, cedar, patchouli, and amber. But to me, it smells like a shampoo product, or it reminds me of a shampoo product. Not so much in the texture here. It is creamy, but it's more about the smell in this case rather than the actual texture. I think the only thing that's giving us the creamy vibe is the magnolia, maybe a little bit of the oak moss, but in the end, it's not as creamy as something like AFFINESSENCE SAFRAN-NEROLI, and even the Ghost in a Shell is much creamier than Eau de Magnolia. But to me, just smell it. It'll remind you of a product that you might use on your body, like a shampoo or a body wash, or even a lotion. So that is Eau de Magnolia. And also the fact that they already have Frederic Malle products made out of that fragrance, even more proof that it reminds us of shampoo. Or, you know, body lotion, because the hotels that I've stayed at also have body lotion in those hotels at the same time as they have the hand soaps and the shampoos. All right, up next, going to the house of JOOP. This is BAIN. This smells like a super expensive shampoo, but much more warmer. This is not a fresh. It's much more warm, velvety, smooth, super creamy, ambery, sweet and vanillic. And there's a slight nuttiness in here because of the tonka bean note, so it kind of reminds me of almonds a little bit. But in the end, you have some light freshness, citruses, and floral notes, and then it gets deeper, and it gets creamier, and smoother, and more amber resinous in the dry down. But to me, it smells like an expensive product, but it's, you know, got that nice creamy texture that I like, that is the reminder of the shampoo effect, but then also as a smell as well. This is more like salon kind of hair shampoo products, like when you go to a salon to get your hair done and they wash your hair with a shampoo. It kind of reminds me of shampoos that they would use there that are more for like usages in salons rather than something you would buy at the grocery store or the drugstore, like for shampoo and stuff. But that's the kind of reminder it gives me for sure. So that's JOOP's BAIN. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you get that shampoo quality or shampoo vibe from BAIN? Add a comment below. Up next, going to the house of Granado, Brazil. It's Yes Nos TEMOS Banana. You guys tried this one? This is, I think, more along the line of something like an herbal essence fragrance, because this is a super green fragrance. It's also tropical and fruity, and the texture of the banana comes off creamy. So you have everything going for it. And to me, it's like you're showering in the tropical jungle somewhere, and it's a natural waterfall, and you're surrounded by trees and all the lush vegetation and the essences of the fruits off of the trees. And so it gives me that kind of a vibe. But there is something green. It's super green. I think it's the banana leaves they're using in addition to the fruits, which makes the bananas come off not super ripe. And that's perfect, because when I eat bananas, I want to make sure the bananas are not super ripe, because I don't like the flavor of super ripe bananas. Obviously, I don't like green bananas either, so it has to be the right balance. But to me, it's just before it becomes yellow, because there's some greenness. And so that's kind of giving me that kind of a texture and a smell. And so it's creamy. It's that kind of texture with that super soft, the creaminess. I think it's the banana that's creating that. It's a fun fragrance and totally reminds me of a shampoo product, and more along the line of the herbal essences, I think. I'm not 100% sure if herbal essences ever did a banana product shampoo or anything like that, but that's the vibe I get. All right, up next, going to the house of Juliette Has a Gun. This is Pear Ink. So this is a fruity, obviously with pear, and also musky shampoo item. So it's a green pear, but it's crunchy and crisp. I think there's a juiciness, but also there's a lot of musks that are featured here. In fact, there's light ambery notes, musky notes. It's just a beautiful experience with a juicy green pear note that has all that crispness and all the muskiness, but it does come off super creamy, but not super dense. There's definitely a lightness about this, and it gives me that kind of a luxurious fruity kind of shampoo vibe that has that kind of musky elements that this fragrance has. So it's utilizing green pear, there's ambroxan, there's ambrotalide, there's habanolide, musk, and muscanone, but it's gorgeous, super gorgeous. And the pear is super fruity, but as I said, it's juicy, fruity, and dewy, and then also a little tart, not super sweet. But moving on to the house of KAYALI, it's Eden Juicy Apple 01. Oh my god, this is like a fruity shampoo come to life. It's just, that's what it reminds me of. In fact, there's actually product out there right now that I've actually smelled at the stores that this reminds me of. Fun, very playful, super fruit forward, very, very juicy. And this is not the texture, this is the smell now, like major smell. I don't have that cream, although there's a light creaminess in there, like a super smooth texture in the fragrance, but it's not necessarily about the creamy texture that I have, that velvety creaminess that I get from some of the other fragrances. But this, to me, is, what is the brand name that does these kind of shampoos now? I mean, my mom uses these kind of shampoos. She gets them from the grocery store. They're like big tubs. And whenever I go to her house to shower and I'm showering, I'm smelling fruity shampoos. And it totally reminds me of something she's actually had recently that I used. And again, the texture of shampoo for me is very like smooth and creamy, velvety smooth. This is giving me a little bit of that effect, but it's giving me more about the smell. And this 100% reminds me of a fruity shampoo. If you haven't tried it, try it. It's Eden Juicy Apple 01 from the house of KAYALI. I really think that smells like a shampoo product. But next, going to the house of Louis Vuitton, this is Moontail. Part of their trio of fragrances that launched in China. They're getting the worldwide release very soon. But this to me is the creamy texture and the idea of the fruits and the floral notes in this as well. So it's peony, it's raspberry, there's jasmine, sambac, magnolia, musk, and geranium. But just put it on and see and smell the texture of this, because it gets very floral, it gets super fruity, but it's subtle. It's not like the KAYALI Eden Juicy Apple, which is like so fruity. This is a bit more subtle, not overwhelming, but it's more like a luxurious kind of a shampoo product rather than the mass market ones that I was just telling you about, the ones my mom gets. It's funny, my mom gets sometimes the mass market ones. She only goes for deals. So if she sees a good deal on that, she'll get it. If it's the expensive one, there's a good deal, she'll get it. Kind of like me also. But this Louis Vuitton is, again, very luxurious smelling. It's not overwhelming with the smell, but a nice balance of fruits and flowers at the same time, going like the creamy texture. So that is Moontail from the house of Louis Vuitton. And then we're going into a tropical direction next. It's Nest Balinese Coconut. This is like so creamy, so super creamy and smooth. And as soon as I smell it, it just reminds me of a product for the body. It's got a freshness, but it's super warm and it's extremely creamy. And I think this is the texture that I'm getting. It's almost like there's this warm creaminess, but surrounding it, there's this freshness, like a greenness or something. But I think we're getting that. There's coconut here, there's musk, there's also frangipani and tiara flower. And all of these notes come off very creamy. This is also a little bit powdery, but you know, the frangipani and the tiara flower are super creamy including the coconut. So there's that sunscreeny effect, but also a hair, shampoo kind of, or a body wash kind of a creaminess and a quality for this. It smells really, really great. If you haven't tried that, please do. If you want to go into a tropical direction, definitely try this coconutty, but also very tropical floral direction. Nest Balinese coconut will do. All right, I have to include Parfums de Marly in the mix. I've got 3 from the brand. First of which is DELINA. DELINA, I always felt like had a creaminess. I felt like the DELINA creaminess comes from, or reminds me of the creaminess of Intense Cafe from the house of Montal. But this is more fruity, a bit tropical because it has rhubarb and lychee fruit, and it has the rose as well. So it totally gives me either a body wash or a shampoo vibe. And to me, it's sweet, it's tart, it's floral, it's juicy, it's a bit zesty. Eventually it gets kind of vanillic and musky and woody in the dry down. But to me, it's total shampoo. Total shampoo. That creaminess, it's the texture once again here that's giving me that kind of a vibe. Anyway, that's DELINA. And for me, it's mostly the original, not the other 2. But then there's this one too, Parfums de Marly's GREENLEY. Again, it's like an appley, juicy body wash or shampoo. This is super drippy. That's why I feel like it's juicy. It's also a green apple, and then also very musky in the dry down. But to me, it reminds me of a cross between a fruitiness of the apples, but also a little bit of like Irish Springs. It gives me that kind of a feeling. But I love the way it smells. It's got a great smell, very original, and to me, it reminds me of a body wash, or most importantly, a shampoo. It's one of my favorite Marlys. It's not anything super like masterpiece, but it's a great smell. I love it. Last but not least from Parfums de Marly is Valaya. Yeah, this one, even though this reminds me a little bit of Fleur Narcotique, I think this comes off a little bit more shampoo-like. It's an expensive shampoo that is like a celebrity hairstylist would make or something. So it's very creamy in there. There's a major creamy depth about it. And then up top, it's a bit tropical and fruity and floral at the same time. But this is something, like I said, a celebrity hairstylist would launch their own products. And this is the kind of smell it would get. This is a Canton Biche creation. And so it has a signature DNA. But for me, I get a very expensive kind of a celebrity hairstylist or hair salon owner's beauty products. Well, hair products, I should say, not beauty products. What do you guys think? That is Valaya from the house of Parfums de Marly. And then we've got PERROY's MAHOGANYSUN. I've always thought that this had that shampoo quality or even body wash quality. I've actually been to the factory of this house and they were producing this fragrance. At that time, I felt like there's something about this that reminds me of it. This fig, frangipani, and vanilla, but super creamy texture. It's amazing. That's what it reminds me of. It's almost like you're, like buying a shampoo and the corresponding body wash with it. And so you're using 2 products and you're lathering yourself up with this kind of a tropical, fruity, warm, vanillic creaminess. And then you're also lathering your hair up with another similar scented product. But to me, it smells so much like a shampoo. I just cannot believe how shampoo-like this fragrance is. It's also fun and playful, very tropical and fruity. It makes it a very, very enjoyable offering. So that's MAHOGANYSUN by PERROY. Check that out when you get a chance. I really, really think that one is a total shampoo or body wash. But this next one, maybe we're going into the herbal essences direction. This is Siam 1928's Kara Week. Have you guys tried this one? Because it's green, I think that's why I am taking this into the herbal essences direction. But this is galbanum, lavender, mango, magnolia, coconut, cedarwood, sandalwood, and oak moss. It comes off super green, very herbal, and lightly fruity. And again, lightly texture, not super creamy, but more about the smell this time. And it reminds me of an herbal essences type of a shampoo, but kind of tropical and green at the same time. It has the coconut, so there is a little bit of creaminess in there, but it, to me, is heavily on the greenness, heavily on the fruitiness, and more on the aromatic side. Oh my God, I can't believe how this reminds me of shampoo product or a body wash product. It's just unbelievable. That is Karaweek from the House of Siam 1928. Please check that out. And I've been mentioning this one has that reminder as well. This is the Harmonist Floride Nebula. And this has a little bit of a fruitiness. It's bergamot, bitter orange, pink pepper, datura flower, apricots, Bulgarian rose, musk, vanilla, and amber. And the textures, this is all about the texture with the smell. So it's fruity and floral at the same time, and it eventually has some warmth and ambery vanillic touches in the base. So that whole texture is just acting like a shampoo that you've just popped in your hand and you're, you know, lathering your hair, and the smell is kind of seeping down and you can smell it. It's waking you up because it's morning and you're still kind of sleepy, kind of a thing. But super awesome. There is a light honeyed quality about this as well. And I think it's because the vanilla and the amber in here with the fruitiness of the apricot. It's so good. I love this fragrance. It's an awesome scent from the Harmonist Floride Nebula. And to me, it's a little bit close to Trudon's 45 as well. I'm featuring this here as well. It totally gives me the idea of a creamy shampoo. But this is more on the warm and amber vanilla side. Not super fruity. Although I do get a little bit of red fruits in this. I don't know why, but I do. But this is honey, bergamot, vanilla absolute, vanilla CO2, Georgie wood, benzoin, and vanillin. Oh my God, this is super delicious. These two totally remind me of one another. I've already mentioned them in videos. The texture on both are very similar. The Trudon is much warmer, much resinous vanillic amber, when the Harmonist has freshness because it has flowers and fruits. But when you compare them side by side, you'll get that similar texture. And it's super smooth and creamy, and that's what's giving me shampoo vibes. But both of these are so awesome. So awesome. Very, very luxurious, expensive shampoo. Just two more fragrances, guys. This is Xerjoff's Herba Gold. It's a tropical, fruity, super creamy offering from the house. I originally was going to put Herba Pura, but I think this comes off more shampoo-like than Herba Pura does. And it's also the texture here. It's super creamy once again, but this is like yellow fruits explosion of shampoo texture creaminess. I feel like there's mango here. I feel like there's banana here. It's sweet. It's a little bit vanillic. It's ambery and woody at the same time. But I think it's almost like it's a shampoo body wash combo. You're lathering all over your body and smelling this super tropical fruity product. But there's warmth in there. There's the spices. It's just the texture there. Really awesome. Really total reminder of shampoo or body wash. So that's Herba Gold from the House of Xerjoff. And last but not least, it's Zoologist Perfumes Cow. Oh my God. It's a milky fragrance, and that's the texture that gives me that shampoo vibe. And you've got apples here. Apples and aromatic notes and spices. Very milky, creamy, very fruity and aromatic and floral. This whole idea of this fragrance is shampoo. It's fun. But green apple contrasts against the creaminess. Aromatic notes like sage kind of, create this herbal quality. It's powdery. It's a bit sweet and musky and woody. But the fact that you have that milky creaminess here, that texture along with the apples and the sage is giving me total shampoo vibes. It's a fun fragrance. If you don't think about it as a milky fragrance, you can think about it as a shampoo fragrance. So that's Cow, the last fragrance here in my 21 shampoo fragrances list of fragrances. So what are your thoughts on these fragrances? Do you get the same vibes as I do? Play around with them, study them, think about them. If you don't, maybe you do. Maybe you have a list of other fragrances that you think are more shampoo or body wash. Do add that list in the comment section. I'm going to find out, because I like this idea of shampoo fragrances and I want to explore and find more. But let me know what your thoughts are on the fragrances. Give me your list, and thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please interact with this video, like it, share it, and of course add your comments and respond to other people's comments. And then of course please subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll be notified for future videos. See you guys later. Bye-bye.